Hello my dear friends, and welcome back to another Star Wars video. It is I coming at you once again, your favourite galactic hostess, Star Wars Meg. And today we have some unprecedented surprising comments from Rian Johnson, a bit of a polarizing figure in the Star Wars fandom, the writer and director of The Last Jedi, the movie which many fans point to as the start of the Disney Star Wars decline. And in a brand new interview with RollingStone.com, he not only teases the next installment of Knives Out, but he also reflected on his Star Wars work, The Last Jedi, and he also provided an update on his upcoming Star Wars trilogy, the one that was announced nearly a decade ago. And let's be honest, I don't think it's ever gonna happen. But Rian's given us some new insights, and in typical Rian fashion, he is subverting expectations. Let's begin with some of his more controversial comments. This one is already riling up fans and causing a bit of drama. Rian insists The Last Jedi doesn't undo anything that J.J. Abrams did in The Force Awakens. I actually agree with this, but not for the reasons you might think. So Rian says, his movie is a logical continuation from episode 7. He furthered these characters and wrote the next step for them. Now some fans disagree. They say, well, you didn't have to have Luke be a miserable, depressed old man. He didn't have to chuck the lightsaber over his shoulder. And while that's true, we have to be honest and we have to be fair. J.J. Abrams is the one who puts Luke on the island in The Force Awakens. Rian had to explain why, and come up with a reason why the hero of the Battle of Endor lost all hope. Why would the most well-known Jedi in the galaxy during this time exile himself? Abandon his friends and family, the New Republic, the Resistance? What would have caused the man who redeemed Darth Vader to want to run away like this? Having to come up with such an explanation is a very heavy task. Do I agree with the way Rian did it? Absolutely not. But to claim he bears all the responsibility is just disingenuous. And on the subject of consistency within the sequel movies, I would argue JJ's The Rise of Skywalker is the one that's inconsistent. That's the movie that tried to invalidate episode 8 and course correct. I understand there are defenders of episodes 8 and 9, but had they had a plan from the start, so many of these creative choices could have been averted. Next up, my friends, Rian Johnson talks about the decision to kill Snoke. Another really frustrating choice, because we still know so little about him, and his story was changed about 3 times. At first he was a relic of the old empire. He watched as it rose and collapsed. And the intrigue of him, the mystique, the unknown, was just so appetizing and so delicious. That's why around 2015 and 2016, fan theories and speculation were rampant. This was around the same time Star Wars YouTube channels were kicking off. It was such a cool time, pre The Last Jedi. Snoke theories range from making sense to being extremely far-fetched, but regardless, we were eating up any breadcrumbs we could get. We were trying to figure out who this guy was. Was he Mace Windu? Was he Darth Plagueis? Was he someone else from the days of the Republic? And then, in episode 8, he dies, and we have no answers. No information about his scars, his name, how he became the Supreme Leader, and how the First Order was founded. And so then, Rian Johnson took pleasure in mocking fans who had any kind of theory about him. And so afterwards, to retcon things, J.J. Abrams made him a clone of Palpatine. It was so random, so last minute, but to this day the canon timeline of his existence makes no sense. We still have so many questions. But Rian now says this, it's all a matter of perspective and phrasing, but to me, I didn't easily dispense with Snoke. I took great pains in using him in the most dramatic, impactful way I could, and that was to fast-track Kylo Ren to the dark side, to become the new leader of the First Order. And that's another thing, I have a feeling he never intended Kylo to have a redemption, so that's also another interesting change. But Snoke was always meant to be a plot device. He wasn't meant to be an ancient Sith, someone with an elaborate backstory who fought this person and who knows this person. He was there as a catalyst to propel Kylo Ren. Snoke was always intended to be a nobody. And so now, my friends, Rian talks about his upcoming trilogy. Right off the bat, Rian has changed his tune. He used to be so certain that one day he was going to return to Lucasfilm and work on those movies. But now you get the impression that even he knows it's never going to happen. So here's the quote. It was all very conceptual. There was never any outline or treatment or anything. Nothing really happened. We had a great time working on The Last Jedi, and Lucasfilm said, let's keep doing it. And then he says he kicked some ideas around with Kathy, but nothing ever came of it. But now, my friends, instead of talking about when it's going to happen further down the line, he's using the word if. So instead of saying I'm going to return to this one day, when Knives Out is done I'm going to focus on my Star Wars trilogy, he says this, if down the line there's an opportunity to do it, I would be thrilled. That is a stark difference to his comments in the past, even as recently as 2024. Even Kathleen Kennedy was defending him. It was always a case of, whenever Rian has time to do it. Knives Out got in the way, he's working on a few other projects, but when he's done with those, he will return to Star Wars. But clearly things have changed, and I don't think Disney and Lucasfilm want to take the risk, because when they greenlit his trilogy, it was before the backlash to The Last Jedi. So Lucasfilm had no idea what was to come, and so now with the Star Wars movie focus being on The Mandalorian and Grogu, Star Wars Starfighter, Dawn of the Jedi, the Rey movie, I very much doubt the Rian Johnson trilogy is ever gonna happen. And come on, Rian's intelligent, I think even he knows it. He's just trying to save face. He knows how a lot of people felt about his movie. Does he want to return? Sure. But I just don't see it. And I also just want to point out, I don't know if I believe him when he says there was no outline for the trilogy. From some of the things I've heard, and this is just through the grapevine, Rian was going to make a Dawn of the Jedi trilogy before it was handed to James Mangold as a standalone. J.J. Abrams is the one who introduced Ahsoka Island in The Force Awakens, but it was Rian Johnson who furthered the notion it was the first Jedi temple. And so his trilogy would have gone back 25,000 years and given us the first Jedi, which in a way would have rhymed with The Last Jedi, and tonally it might have been very similar. For all we know, it could have been good. Rian is a very adventurous and talented filmmaker, but I don't think he was right for episode 8. And so finally, Rian says he never intended to direct episode 9. He was asked if Lucasfilm approached him, or if he wanted to do it, and he says, no, absolutely not. The reality is, if I thought I was doing both of them, I would have ended my movie the same way. From the very start, the assignment was you're going to do episode 8 and someone else is going to do 9. And I can understand why this leaves a bad taste in many fans' mouths, because Rian's aim with this movie was to give us a middle installment that subverted expectations. In the past, he's on record saying he loves when his movies divide people. He would hate if everyone loved it. He wants half the audience to be obsessed with it, and the other half to hate it. And if that was his approach to Star Wars, then it's kind of like him saying, this is going to be my fingerprint on the franchise, instead of writing something that serves the overall story. And I don't think Star Wars fans are ever going to get over this. It's the reason I don't think Lucasfilm's ever going to want him working on Star Wars ever again, because whenever he's interviewed, whenever he makes comments like this, fans jump on it, and it reopens the wounds from back in 2017. And just to rub a bit more salt into all of this, Rian admits he hated the prequel trilogy when it came out, and the ironic thing is, in terms of themes, of all the sequel movies, The Last Jedi is the most compatible with something like Revenge of the Sith. Luke Skywalker even mentions the rise of Palpatine, how in their hubris, the Jedi allowed the Sith to rise under their noses. So, those are Rian's comments, and I guess very little has changed, other than maybe his comments about his trilogy. But what do you guys think? Share your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, my dear friends, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, check me out on socials, and may the Force be with you, always.